little bit about the reasons that people want to leave poverty. There are 4 reasons why people leave poverty. First of all, it's too painful to stay. They're just sick of that stuff with plugging in the refrigerator and dealing with the tyranny of the moment all the time. So the first reason is it's too painful to stay. The second reason is that they have a vision or a goal. I'm happy to say that there have been some Ball State classes the past couple of semesters that have been working with children at places like the Bewley Center and Motivate Our Minds to help them think about goals. My husband is about to end a 40-year teaching career at Muncie Southside, and he says his most frustrating day-to-day issue with kids is that they don't have any goals. They don't know how to set goals. They don't come from homes where anybody has ambitious goals. Maybe a goal in a lot of homes is, by golly, you got to finish high school, and that's great. But what happens after high school? They don't know. They don't have anything figured out. They're just ready to graduate and kind of go out there and hope something good happens. The third reason is that they have a talent or a skill. Think of somebody you know who's a celebrity who probably would have been in poverty if they hadn't had the talent or skill that they have. Know anybody? Justin Bieber. How about MC Hammer? Who is that? Any of you heard of MC Hammer? He what?
He's too legit to quit.
Yeah. Yes. What did MC Hammer become famous doing? Dancing and rap kind of stuff. You know, he's the one with the big baggy parachute pants. And when he left poverty, became a multimillionaire, he took 200 of his friends with him, put them on his payroll. You know, I like you, Adam, because you're such a friendly guy. I want you to be my butler, because you can be nice when you answer the door. I'm going to pay you 75 grand a year to be my butler. Okay, in poverty, I'm motivated by relationships, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. So my relationship with you, even if we aren't related or we aren't close buddies, is important enough to me that I'm going to give you something, because a lot of people from generational poverty will give away whatever they have. They give you the shirt off their backs. Let's talk about that relationship a little bit. People in poverty are motivated by relationships. Let's think about this. Do you know anybody, they don't have to be in poverty, who just doesn't get along with somebody in their family? They're just always fighting.
Wow, who we know?
Well, if you're in poverty, and Anna Marie is my sister, and I can't stand her, can't stand anything about her because we're so different. I don't like the way she raised her kids. She just gets on my last nerve. But by golly, Jessica better not say anything nasty about Anna Marie, because she is my possession. She is my sister. And I'm in your face, I'll put you down if you talk that way about her again. Because she is my person, she's my relative, and I own her, and she owns me. And relationships are very important. We keep talking about generational poverty. Is there any other kind besides generational poverty?
Sometimes there's instant poverty, where you lost a job or you lost.
What do we call that? There's actually a name for that. Situational poverty. The situation plunges you into poverty. Usually it's divorce, a catastrophic illness, a loss of a job, those kinds of things. And people in situational poverty may be there a long time, or they may not be there very long at all. They usually can get out faster. We work with people in our program who are in situational poverty, and they usually can get to their goals faster than people who are not, because they've had those goals before. They know how to set goals. The people who don't know how to set goals and who haven't ever been able to dream about where they want to be take much, much longer and have a lot more baggage to haul along with them. What are people in middle class motivated by? Are relationships not important to us? Well, of course they are. We have our families that we love so much, we have our friends, we have our neighborhood, we have our churches, we have professional affiliations. But what really motivates us as a income group of people? Achievement. Absolutely, achievement. We're motivated by what's the next better house that I need, or what's the good school that I want my children to go to after they graduate from high school, and how am I going to achieve these things in the lives of my family and in the lives of the people who are close to me. Achievement drives people in middle class, and people in wealth are driven by kind of their pedigree, their history, and their connections. Because you have to be well connected. MC Hammer was smart enough to know that if he didn't have some connections, he was not going to be able to stay where he stayed. Did he stay where he was?
No.
No, he lost everything. He had to declare bankruptcy. Where is he now?
He's a preacher.
He's a preacher. He's still an entertainer. He's not a multi-million-dollar, multi-millionaire anymore, but he certainly is doing well. He's doing well. But he had to build resources, and I want you to look at your sheet where it says definition of resources. What is poverty? Well, there are a couple definitions here at the bottom of the page. In financial terms, it's the inability to pay for basic needs of food, shelter, health care, transportation, clothing, and child care. Another way of defining it, and this is the one that we use in our work, is a lack of all kinds of resources, not only financial, but physical and medical, mental, intellectual, emotional, occupational, environmental, and spiritual resources. So if you look at these resources, what are some of the resources that MC Hammer had to build in order to get back in a better place than he had been before?
No, but I didn't get the pink.
He had to become more emotionally responsible, right? And she just mentioned that he was a preacher, so he certainly must have built some spiritual resources. What else did he have to build?
Confidence. 'Cause
Right?
he lost it when he lost
Right,
it.
and that would be an emotional resource for sure. He had to build mental resources. He went to school. He took classes that helped him learn about finances and how to manage his money. And so in order to not be in poverty, he had to rebuild the resources that you see here on this page. That's what we help people do in our work, and you may find that you're meeting people who don't have a clue that building these resources would help. But if that's something that they can learn, that can help them move toward goals. I'm going to pick on Loretta Parsons back here, who manages the Harvest Soup Kitchen. Can you tell me just a little bit about the average person who comes through your services every day? What are some of the issues that they're facing, and what are some of the resources that they might need to build if only they had a little help doing that?
I think the average person that comes through the soup kitchen is probably what we would call the working poor. They may actually have a job, but it doesn't sustain them at a level that they need to be sustained to meet these basic needs. So they come to the kitchen to stretch their dollars by getting food there and then being able maybe to pay the gas bill or the rent or whatever they need to pay. So they just can't make it with the means that they have. So that would, I suspect, is the average person. We have, folks that are on, fixed income that I put in that category as well. They can't make it with what they get.
Well, thank you for pointing out that so many of your patrons are people who are the working poor. We make the assumption when we think about those stereotypes that nobody in poverty works. They do work, they just don't make enough money to be able to survive, or certainly not to live well. And so that's one of the reasons when you get your form to mark your availability at different times of the day and different days of the week. We're making classes available at times when people who are working can come. And so that's why we have to create times with a lot of flexibility. It would be a lot easier for us to just say, okay, all cooking classes will be at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. That'd be easy, but that isn't gonna work for everybody, so we have to do things differently.